The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of Mark and Mark in the Midday. We've got a treat for us this week because we actually have back in studio, we have my partner Mark Littell, who's back from Cuba, and we'll talk about that in our next show, but I just wanted to welcome him back. Today's guest, we have Kevin Paisley, who actually played for the Dodgers and Seattle. He played for them in the late 70s, early 80s, and then was, I believe, in Toronto and Detroit's minor league chain for a while as well. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's good talking to you and Mark and Mark. Sounds good.
Excellent.
Well, there's a lot of things I see about Kevin Paisley, and I know we missed each other because either we were in the American or National League separate, or the opposite, vice versa. And it's good to actually sit here and look at what you've done in baseball so much. You've played a lot of minor league baseball. So the funny thing about that is that how many pitchers did you go through? I mean, I know you've got some stories because you're in the major leagues as well, and so you've got some stories about some of the really good pitchers out there that you've actually caught and gone to battle for. I mean, just you got any of your mind?
Absolutely. I must have put in when I was playing. It was amazing. I loved the game, and I signed when I was 18 years old, and I played all year round. In fact, I did go up when I was 20 to the LA club, and Mr. Campanis told me, he said, Kevin, if you want to be in the big leagues next year, you have to go to Winnable. So I packed myself up and went over to Mexico and played in the Liga Pacifica. And I did that 4 straight years. I never got a day off. I mean, I must have caught summer, whole winter. And that was kind of, a little tedious on the body a little bit. I didn't have much time to recuperate, but they thought that would be best for me. And I enjoyed the heck out of it. I wanted to play, that's what I did. I just wanted to play ball, and I got the great opportunity to do so. And I did catch a whole bunch of great pitches. No doubt about that.
What were some of those clubhouses like over in Mexico, by the way? Because I just got back from Cuba. So I imagine you saw some real interesting clubhouses.
I was looking at your Facebook page, and I was looking at the photos, and Havana looks like a beautiful city, and so many baseball people. I mean, the folks there absolutely love the game, obviously, and I'm sure they relished your being there and your crew. And I had that opportunity also with the Major League people to go down to Monterrey, Mexico, when Fernando was pitching for the Dodgers against the Monterrey club, and it was the little left-hander, the excellent left-hander for the Milwaukee Brewers was pitching for the Mexican club. Fernando was pitching for LA. It was a spring training game, an exhibition game. And the place was going crazy. Yeah, the place went nuts, and we helped the kids, learn about the game, and they were just excited to see, Major League players. So that was a fun thing.
When you were down in Arizona, you got down in Arizona with this with the alumni thing, I know out there, because that's a big thing. I know the baseball alumni in the state of Arizona, and also they got the association going on. You were talking about the association, what they've done, because I'm very much aware of the association, because I think the one you're talking about is the one that switched from California and came over to Arizona in the past, I think, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's called the Association of Professional Ball Players of America, and they're different from what they do is they help players, ex-players, ex-coaches, ex-umpires, anyone who's played or been in a professional atmosphere in baseball. If they're in need of some assistance at the present time, they need only ask, and these guys go out of their way to help those folks. And it's just a great organization. Major league players and minor league players also, can contribute during the season to help help fund them, because it's all contributions from the actual athletes today and the public. But they do help a lot of people. And they're now based in Scottsdale, but they help everybody around the country, no matter where they are. And not just figures, anyone. So they do a heck of a job. I just wanted to mention that because I've been working with them a little bit myself, and it's a pleasure to do so.
No.
Hey, Kev, I was going to say, Kev, you had the good fortune of being with the Dodgers, I guess, during the 70s when that team was just like the cream of the crop. They were battling the Reds out every year for the West and also for the NL pennant. And you must have, like Mark always talks about, like guys that you played with. You must have caught some really good guys. Like you must have caught like Sutton and Tommy John and those fellas.
Absolutely. Well, believe it or not, I'm from Long Island now, and I love the Rangers, love the Giants, but when I was growing up, I loved the Yankees. So Al Downing was one of the great pitchers for the Yankees at the time when I was growing up. And I go up to the big leagues at the age of 20, and the first Dodger pitcher I caught in a game was Al Downing. And it was just fabulous. Gentleman Al, I know why they call him that, because he is that. And it was fabulous. It was just a thrill to be out there, first of all, in Dodger blue, with that ball club. And second of all, to be catching him initially, it was just fabulous.
Wow.
When I went out to the mound, he used to tell me, "Take it easy, Kevin." He's telling me to relax. So he was a great guy. And that was the thrill. I was in Houston, Texas. So my first time I ever went on a ball field and played, actually in a game.
Well, I think we're not going to talk today about anything that has to do with Houston and the Dodgers in this show.
Oh, yeah, I had to mention that, though. Okay. It's verboten now, I know. 10 bums have to wait till next year now.
Yeah,
as they say in the 50s. Wait till next year.
Well, you know what? They will have to wait till next year, and I'd rather focus on the good times that you had in Major League and minor league baseball than talk about our collective Dodger misery that we had to suffer through last night. That's for sure. So,
right. Okay.
So you actually sat behind. I guess you had Yeager and Ferguson ahead of you, and obviously those two guys were they were the front line guys. Did you view them as a roadblock, or did you view them as guys that you could learn from as well?
Well, it's certainly I thought in my opinion, Steve Yeager is one of the best catchers in the modern era. Right now, I still think he's one of the best catchers that ever played. I respect his game tremendously. Folks said he didn't hit much. Well, he hit pretty well in the World Series when he went back-to-back with Say, and I think he was co-MVP with her, I'd say. So, yep. And he had a hell of an arm, and he would help me out, and I would watch him. He played tremendous defense. He was into the game completely, and you can't help but learn from a guy like that. And Ferguson, Joe was playing the outfield a lot. He was playing right field. He used to just kind of fill in for Yeager, and occasionally, depending on the situation, I didn't see a lot of action the first year I was there. We were battling Cincinnati, and of course Philadelphia had a great club too. Although one of my greatest thrills of my short career up there, it was a packed house in Philadelphia. And Jim Cott was pitching for them. And what happened was, Bo was on the up at bat, and it's a nothing game. Sizemore is on first base, and he's trying to bunt him over. So he bunts the ball toward our dugout. It was a pretty long run over there in Philly. But I got on my horse, I jumped, I dove out, I caught it. And it was just like back in Albuquerque. I didn't, think about the 58,000 people screaming in the stands or anything like that. But it was exciting as heck. I got a hit that game, and we got beat 1-0 because Teddy Sizemore, who's going to be a Dodger later, got a big hit in the late innings to beat us 1-0, beat Bert Hooten. But that was a great thrill, too. I enjoyed that. And Mike Schmidt hit a pop-up behind home plate. That was, it was like it went so high I couldn't see it. I said, is it ever going to come down? I thought it was going to, land on my head or something. And it came down like a bullet, and you could hear it. And then, bam, it just hit my glove, and it was like an explosion. And I was fortunate enough to stay there. It was a little shaky there. The ball was hit high. But it's amazing how even a young player like myself at that time, surrounded by, a huge crowd and playing with the greatest team in the world against one of the greatest teams in the world. What a thrill that was, just to be on that field, representing the Dodgers and, putting forth a good effort and have a good game. It was just an exhilarating feeling.
Now, I got to think.
That was Lasorda, right, as your manager? Lasorda? At that time?
Lasorda. Well, the first year I played, when I went up there, I played for Walter Alston.
Oh,
and then
really?
he took over the next year.
Now, that's a difference in
managers. So I got a
managers.
taste of Smoky, too. Woo! You got that right.
I got to say, that's got to be two different personalities, because Alston was probably old school and stoic, and Tommy was always doing a monologue.
Absolutely. I mean, incredibly. You didn't hear... I didn't hear Alston talk, very much. I mean, he'd say, "Hey, Kevin, how you doing?" occasionally. But Tommy was like, "Kevin," he says, "Paisley, get over there." In the middle of Vero Beach, you have all the fans just, surrounding us. They're allowed to walk right amongst us, in those days. And Tommy used to say, "Paisley, get on your knees and tell these people how much you love the Dodgers." And so I had to play a game to get on my knees and, raise my arms to the sky. I love LA. I love LA. I love being a Dodger. Big Smokey would ever do that. The Alston wouldn't play that. Right.
Neither would the rest of baseball.
But it was fun. Tommy was, he was no matter pitch, he knew what he was doing. The guys loved playing for him. And, I'm glad he's still rocking and rolling it to this day. So once a Dodger, always a Dodger. Tommy's one of the greatest.
Well, he was good. He was good for Los Angeles, that's for sure.
I got to ask you this: you went from being a New York guy just like me out to LA, so you weren't intimidated by the big crowds because of the fact that you grew up in New York and you're a Long Island guy. But how much different was the lifestyle going from New York to the other coast?
Wow. Yeah, I tell you what, it was a little stunning because I left right out of high school on Long Island and signed with LA and went out to Medford, Oregon initially and played in the Northwest League. And, I was kind of stunned because, I was the All-American kid in high school. I'll go to school and play ball, play 3 sports. And when I got out there, I went into the locker room, and a lot of my teammates, a little bit older, they're smoking cigarettes, they have a beer, and I'm going, what the heck are you guys doing? You can't be drinking tobacco? What's going on? I get a little taste of, these guys are older, and, they're human beings. And it was just the nature of the beast. That was a little bit shocking. But believe me, I overcame that and realized the business of the game itself. But it was a lot of fun. There's nothing like going on the field when the place is packed. And when you played for LA in those days, every game we played, every night we went into a ballpark, it was packed. Because that club was really an outstanding one. And no matter who we played, whether it be a low echelon club or, the Philly club or Cincinnati, it was very exciting.
Those games against the Reds. Those games against the Reds, though, had to be intense.
I remember going into the Reds, the visiting clubhouse, and it's of course all red. It's totally red. It's red, carpet, walls, the whole thing. And then you have to walk down you walk down a hallway, and then you go up a flight of stairs, and you're going to the dugout. And all you see is blue sky. And then all of a sudden you just hear the hum of the crowd. Even before batting practice, the place was half full. And we used to take a beating verbally when we came on the field, because the Reds and the Dodgers in those days, were definitely rivals. But there was no animosity. I don't remember any Dodger players, bad mouthing any Red players. And I remember, before the, when guys would work out in the outfield, just loosen up, guys would talk to each other. There was no real animosity at all. There was a little bit.
You had Vince over there, didn't you? You had Vince at the time, was there? The other catcher. Chuck was Cincinnati.
It was Bench and Plummer. Plummer was there for years, and didn't have to worry about getting. He played maybe once a month. Because I did play with Bill in Seattle.
Right.
He's a great guy. He's a good, solid player, no question. But nobody's going to take Bench's job. Not the way he could hit.
Right.
So it was pretty awesome, pretty amazing, and you can, Mark, you know exactly what I'm talking about when you go up against a high echelon club. You were on, a couple of great ones. When guys come up to playing against the Royals, you just go down that lineup, and every gosh darn guy in that batting order is a scary guy. And that's exactly what I was thinking about with the Reds. You got Morgan, you got Rose, you got Concepcion, and then you got Foster and Bench and Perez. Geronimo, and it never stops. This is a little hair-raising. I can tell you what, it was exciting, though.
Well, it's not like you guys didn't have a good lineup either.
I'll tell you what, unbelievable. We were loaded, too. Our ball club was, you got Monday, and you got Reggie Smith in the outfield. I mean, Toy Cannon was there, too. Occasionally he played for the Dodgers those days. We had Dusty Baker, Monday, and Reggie Smith. Darby Loeb, Russell. You can say that in your sleep.
Yep.
That was going for 20 years. Yeager and that pitching staff. I mean, those were some battles.
Hershiser was there as well, wasn't he? Hershiser? A little later.
He was there by the 80s.
Yeah, he's later than me. I left LA and went to Seattle like in 78. And Dora was there in the 80s with Fernando.
Now I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, good.
I got to ask you this question. So you go from the pinnacle of baseball, which is playing for the Dodgers during their heyday in the 70s, to the expansion era team of the Seattle Mariners, just trying to stay afloat. How did the mindset change?
I'll tell you what, it's an outstanding question, and I talk about this, a lot. You go from one of the great ball clubs of its era to literally one of the poorest clubs, the expansion team. When I got the call, I was at Cincinnati. Al Campanis called me in my room and said, Kevin, we just, outrouted you to Seattle. And I said, I felt a little bit, but I said, thank you, Lord, because it's about, this was, in 1976, I was, I hit 321. I led the league in triples. I was, had more ABs than anybody in the league in the Pacific Coast League. I was the All-Star catcher for 4 in a row. I mean, there's only so much I could do there. And finally they gave me a chance, and I went to Seattle, and I felt comfortable there. It seemed as if, those players were they were a little looser in regards to communicating with their fellows in regards to new guys. When you're a young player in LA, they were concentrating and focusing on one thing, and that is the opponent and winning. Winning that night and winning a championship. And, sometimes it felt like, they didn't go out of their way to make me feel comfortable. A couple people did, for sure, but some people, they didn't care, which is fine. And then I went to Seattle, and I just felt more comfortable playing there as a teammate because I played a lot, and I was called upon to, put forth contribute. In LA, I didn't get many ABs in the first year I went up, and in the second year, I really didn't play a lot up there. So I was happy that they gave me the opportunity in Seattle. And hitting the Kingdom is, you gotta love it if you're an offensive player. If you're a pitcher, well, Mark can get away with it because he throws gas, but,
Not anymore. Not anymore. They actually hit me now. I'm kidding.
I never faced you, Mark, because if I had, you drop down on me, man. I'd have to take a deep breath before I get in there.
Well, I don't know. We all had some fun back then because, when I'd step out there on the mound and I'd check out the hitters and you just look at that body language sometimes and you say, geez, this guy's got a pretty good body language. He's pretty sure of himself right now. So, you sit there and watch that stance and watch the hands. And, what I really hated as a pitcher was when they took a pitch. I always wanted to try to read the swing. And they take a strike, and I say, "Gosh, dog, give me that ball back. I want you to take a freaking swing, and at least tell me the swing you got, and and hopefully you didn't make contact with the barrel." So on the sweet spot, anyway.
Yeah, I tell you, you two are guys, that's for sure. Broke a lot of bats. I remember that. What ball club you guys played? You played on South Carolina, some dynamite teams. Especially those, I'll never forget that Royal team, man. Wow. Loaded with talent. Those fabulous ball clubs. And Freddie Bussey could play a little bit too. I put him right there.
Yeah.
That was a great time.
Freddie was actually on the show with us about a couple of months ago, and you know what? Freddie's stats don't tell the true Freddie story, because what a great guy, number one. I don't have to tell Mark that, because he's a teammate, but just the stories he told us and just how he respected the game and even helped work with a guy who he knew was going to take his own position from him a year later. What a great player.
Oh, yeah, he was just outstanding, and, I think about, players who really were not statuesque in regards to physique. I mean, when I first looked at Ron Say, I didn't know who he was, and I walked up to a buddy and I said, "Who's that guy? The little guy. He's not little, he's built like a brick wall, and he's got like 0.5% body fat and the quickest hands in the world, and he walked like a penguin." So the guy's walking like a penguin. I said, "Yeah, that's why they call him a penguin." He said, "What? Really?" And he said, "This guy can really rake," and he did. But then when I think about Potsdam, he could hit. He didn't hit with a lot of power, but he could hit a home run now and then. But then I think of this Altuve, just to get back to an amazing player. He's just not a big man, but gee whiz, the guy can outright, flat out rake. And with power. He's just a tremendous athlete, great player, and a good leader, great leader, really. And I think he's going to win the MVP. But just goes to show kids, you don't have to be, big and strong like Aaron Judge. You can be whatever you want. Whatever God gave you, you can use. If you love the game and you can play a little bit, they'll give you an opportunity to play. You'll get your shot.
I know she played in San Antonio one year. Did you like that Texas League travel? Because that's quite a bus ride. In the Texas League, anyway.
I'll tell you what, I would have loved to play in the Texas League, Mark. When I played, we were in Waterbury, Connecticut, and it was cold, and we played in a track. It was really a track stadium, and it wasn't very comfortable. The next year I went to El Paso, and I would have liked to play in the Texas League, but the Eastern League was a little bit tougher because, of course, when you play in the Boston team in Bristol, you had guys like Freddie Lynn was on that club, Jack Baker. You had, of course, Jimmy Rice, who's one of the greatest right-handed hitters I've ever played against.
Yep.
Along with Pedro Guerrero, another great right-handed hitter. But they had a great ball club. And, you can hit 320 in Albuquerque, but you get down to Waterbury and you hit 270, that's a good year. You know what I mean? It's a different atmosphere. And, guys, I hit 321, 314 in Albuquerque, 300 every year. But, then the scouts and the upper echelon would always say, well, played in that high atmosphere. atmosphere, and you just, take that down to an Eastern League situation, and he's probably a 2-whatever hitter. But being as it may, as long as they get a shot to play up there, it was all good.
Isn't that kind of like what happened with the Dodgers? A lot of their prospects would hit like 320, 35, 40 home runs in that thin air. And then they would flip them and send them to somebody else and bring a pitcher in for a return, and then the guy goes to some other team and hits like 240 or 250.
Well, I remember, when you think about some of the great Dodgers who played and had tremendous years in Albuquerque, like Mike Marshall.
Yep.
He had 40 home runs in Albuquerque. He hit 338, something like that. And he parlayed it into a good offensive years again in L.A. Guerrero is one, like I said. There's 3 guys. There's another guy that I really thought was one of the greatest, Jack Clark. In fact, you probably played with Jack. Mark, did you play with Jack Clark in St. Louis?
No, I didn't miss Jack. I just pitched against him. I didn't like throwing to him actually because the ball would travel late and he'd swing and he'd foul it off. So I said, "Well, screw you. You're getting a slider." So I fell with it.
Absolutely, he could absolutely rake. He was one of the greatest. He, Jimmy Rice, and Pete Guerrero, 3 of the best right-handers I've ever anybody's ever going to see.
It's extremely fast hands.
Were both of you guys shocked that it took so long for Jim Rice to make the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he's a good ball player. He's a great ball player. He played in a very special park. I mean, it was a short porch. I never, I don't know. I never thought about Jim. I never thought about that too much. Actually, that's a great question. To tell you the truth. So,
but I personally think that Boston had its own attitude toward the minority player at the time, and Jimmy was absolutely. I think. I mean, that ball club they had in Boston with you had Rice, you had Dewey and Wright. The Rooster was playing. You had great hitters. And Cecil Cooper was there too. They had a great ball club. And Jimmy, and then Freddie Lynn. I mean, wow. I thought Rice, like I said, I revere him as one of the top right-handers who's ever lived. And I would have liked to see him up there a little bit faster, but it doesn't make any difference if you make it, as long as you don't make it posthumously. I'd rather see a guy make it when he's alive. And I think he definitely deserves it, no question about that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of one guy from that team you might have left out, that Yaz fella.
I forget what number 8. The old man from Iceland, Long Island, and he became a Yankee hater, a Yankee killer, but he was a Yankee fan. But then he got rid of that notion real quick when he went over to Boston.
Ted, that's what I was going to ask you about. Since you grew up and played in Long Island, were you compared to Yaz? Because obviously he was the great star that came out of Long Island. Did you hear that name a lot?
Well, I heard, of course, everybody who knew baseball, who played in those years, like myself, we all revered Yaz. We knew he was from the island. But nobody's ever said that this guy hits like Yaz. I can't say that. That's not the case. But I remember guys I played with there. You might know Tommy Bianco. There's a man named Tommy Bianco was the first-round pick from the Milwaukee Brewers the year I signed, 1971. He was a catcher also, and he signed with the Brewers and played a lot of years in the major leagues. Well, it's nice when you get drafted, in the first round. I got drafted in the 26th round. I was like 690th pick.
Wow.
And my dad said, he's going to go to St. John's. He's going to go to St. John's University. Yeah. I'm going to play for Jack Kramer. And I said, I want to sign. My mother was crying in the living room the day I signed a contract in my house. I got $10,000. I went out to Medford in mid-June after I graduated high school. And on my birthday, July 22nd, I didn't cover my left, it was my right thumb. I didn't cover it it was a home play, collision at the plate. I carried the guy out, but I didn't cover the right hand. He tore ligaments in my right thumb. I thought I was finished. That was it. I thought I was done. I went to instructional league, and next year I was in Daytona, next year I was in AA, next year AAA. After the AA year, I went up and got a cup of coffee. So they moved me up pretty quick. And, I was up there when I was the third year. So right after AA, I went up for a cup of coffee, and it was the most exciting time of my life at that point.
Did you ever face Guidry or somebody off the Yankees right there? Some of those guys, Guidry, or there's so many good pitchers back then. I mean, really were. Catfish, even Blue Moon, Oakland guys.
It was exciting when they came into Seattle. The Yankees came into Seattle.
Right.
Believe it or not, we beat them up. We beat them pretty good in Seattle. We beat them more times than we lost. And we didn't win in one game in 2 years in New York. But I remember going out to Yankee Stadium. We took tryouts at Yankee Stadium, when I was in high school. But here I am with the Mariners, and we're playing, I'm out in the outfield, and Sparky Lyle calls me over. He wants to talk to me. Let me say hi, him and Tidrow, and I'm talking to these guys. Guidry's out there. I'm in awe, because I'm the big ball here, and I'm been a Yankee fan my whole life. But I got one story to tell you about that. I played. My father and all my friends were in the stands right behind the visiting dugout, and I was called upon to catch in the later innings. It was a tie ball game, and it ended up being there's two plays that I remember. I was catching. It was Nettles was on first. And he's a slow runner, but he got off to a big lead, and then he kind of slipped a little bit. And I took the ball. I didn't throw it. I just ran at him because he started moving towards second. So I left home, and I just ran at Nettles, and we got him going back to first base. But I tagged him out. I ran all the way out there, and then ran him down to first and kind of dove at him and tagged him out. So that was exciting. I really enjoyed that. And then we had the winning run on second base. And then they walked the guy. It was my turn to hit for the first time at Yankee Stadium. And Big Goose was on the hill, Wisconsin. And I said, he's going to throw. Yeah, I know he's going to throw me. It's going to come 3 quarters, and he's going to come right. He's going to throw gas. I'm going to take it. I'm going to hit it right at the right center field, which is my forte. I'm just going to pop it up the middle, go to right field. I'm going to win this game. And I confidently walking up to the hill, the batter's box, and I get a whistle from Darryl Johnson, and he says, he just tells me, come on back, because my good friend, Big Bob Robertson, that's what he did. He was the pinch hitter. He went up there and pinch hit for me. And Goose went boom, 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 3 right down there, 3 big cuts from the big redhead. Number 7, Bobby Robertson. What a great friend he was. Tremendous man. It was just a pleasure to be playing with him. Funny, too.
He was a star with Pittsburgh.
But I was, I said, guys, I looked up at my father and I said, like that. He was like, oh, God, what the, let him, you could just see his face just drop. He said, this isn't Little League, baby. This is the big leagues, and you got to let Bobby. He's making big money. That's what he does. He wants to get the big hit. But the next day, I didn't play anymore in New York, and we played a 4-game series. The next day we went to Milwaukee, played a doubleheader, and I played both ends of the doubleheader.
Damn.
That was exciting. But I said, you don't play me. I said to John, you don't play me in New York where all my people are, but you play me a doubleheader against the great Milwaukee Club. I had a great doubleheader too. We swept. I got my hit. It was fun.
Kevin, did you ever play in St. Louis when it was hotter than hell out there on one of those days on that turf? I'm telling you, I don't know if you played in St. Louis anytime, but that was bad. So.
Oh my goodness, I heard about it. It was like a nightmare. I mean, you got to soak your feet. I mean, you remember those spikes that we wore in those days too? I mean, there was no support, no ankle support, no support for the for your feet at all. We just throw them in icy bowls of ammonia water, excuse me, and just to ease the heat and the pain in the feet because of the, it was very, the turf in St. Louis was like playing on cement.
Yeah.
It was Portland, but I mean, it was hot. If it's 78 degrees outside, it's 108 on the turf.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad out there.
That's boy, Willie McGee, that's why he hit 380 is because he just bounced it on the ground and run like heck. He's great. I remember McGee. He played with you, didn't he? Yeah,
McGee was great. That was my last year, but I remember you sitting there talking about the turf, and I know I threw a game one day, and we were going out to Los Angeles that night to play the next day, and it was a day game, and Swisher was catching, and he caught the whole freaking game. Of course, he was kind of in the shade, but it had rained a little bit the night before, and we had an extra inning ball game, so we had a 1 o'clock game, and it ended up being 136 degrees on the turf, and I pitched the last 2 innings, and I lost 9 pounds, and that was just totally way far out there. I mean, many Anheuser-Busch products that day, so that was pretty good. So,
that's true. I mean, that's why Whitey, the White Rat, he decided, or LaRussa did, say, we got to turn this turf into grass. It'll cool the place down so much, and I think that was a good decision they made up there.
Without a doubt.
I think it was a great decision to have AstroTurf out of baseball completely because it players hated it. How many people's knees did it ruin? Like Andre Dawson up in Montreal. I mean, that pretty much took 5 or 7 years off of his career because he couldn't run on that damn turf up in Montreal. It was even worse than St. Louis's. Not as hot, obviously, but it was padding under it.
Yeah. No question about it. And it was like the worst I've ever been on was an undulating surface at Portland, Oregon, at that stadium that the Portland Club played at, and also that Neil Lomax played at Portland State when he played quarterback for Portland State. No wonder he had bad knees because not only was it wasn't even turf, it was like a paint on cement, and it was undulating. I mean, it wasn't a flat ground, and it was like playing on rock, and I couldn't believe it. The Lomax and the Portland State Club played on that, and we played on it. I played with the Beavers one year, and the only time I really liked it was when I got up to bat, because if you hit the ball on the ground, you probably got a base hit. That's probably why the infielders played about 6 feet back.
They could also bounce the ball to first base like Dave Concepcion used to do.
That's absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's right. He's throwing a ball from short left field. He's throwing you out.
Yeah. No nutties back then. No nutty buddies back then. But
well, you know what? We're getting close to that time, and Kevin, what we do when we get to the end of the show is, since I'm the starting pitcher and starting pitchers don't finish games anymore, I go to the bullpen, I go to the righty, and I go right to the closer.
Right on. There you go.
I got to tell you this. And you know all about this, Kevin, but I closed a little bit, and I always try to throw peas at the knees, no pies in the eyes, no wall balls, and you'll be just fine. And thanks for coming on, Kevin. We enjoyed it thoroughly.
Well, I certainly, absolutely enjoyed the heck out of it. It was such a pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity. Believe me, I don't get many opportunities like this, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, we'll get you back.
You just bring out some real joy in my heart, so I really appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Our pleasure. We'll get you back. Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to this week's edition of Mark and Mark in the Midday. I'm Mark Weiss with my buddy, as always, Mark Littell, a.k.a. Country, and today we actually have a very special show. We're not interviewing guys who've retired and have all the stats in the book. We're interviewing the up and comers, the guys who are looking to make it in professional ball. We're talking to guys who are the top prospects for the Minnesota Twins farm system. And today we have Ryan Eads on the phone with us. And good afternoon. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Hi, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Excellent.
Yeah, one thing, Ryan. One thing I've noticed about Ryan, you're that LSU boy, and they always have some mean pitchers down there. You're also a second-round pick, but the biggest thing you're doing right now, you're in the Arizona Fall League, so that means you're basically knocking on the door and you're coined a prospect. But you know what I want to know is, what do you throw as a pitcher? What do you throw? What's your pitches, Ryan? What do you throw?
Throw a 4-seam fastball, 2-seam fastball, and then just your typical change-up, slider, and curveball. Just kind of the full mix, I guess.
Full mix. And you've been mainly coming out of relief, I've seen, right? For the most part?
Yes, sir. Down here, it's been mainly relief, like 1-inning outings at a time.
Yep. And then when you were at LSU, were you a starter, or at that point your junior, senior year, or were you still out of the pen as well?
At LSU, I was a starter my whole career,
Okay.
my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, and then I left after that year.
Yep, outstanding. And then, so did you pack a lot of innings on in your sophomore, junior years as well, down at LSU?
I think it was about 100 innings each season while I was in college, I believe.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good amount, but you know, you got a nice arsenal of pitches right there. But I was going to ask you, what's your put away pitch? What do you think your put away pitch is right now for you?
I like going to either one of my breaking balls, depending on the hitter, really, or kind of what's working that day.
Sure.
Usually with a right-handed hitter, I'll sometimes feel better with my slider. Or either one, really. I feel pretty comfortable throwing either one to either hitter. Just like I said, it depends on which one feels better that day, and just kind of go with it.
When you were coming down here, Ryan, from out of the season, you had 2 or 3 weeks off, and then you came on down to Arizona. I don't know about you, but I sure like Arizona, and I know you're in Fort Myers. There is a difference, I'm sure, right, with the humidity and stuff.
Yeah. Arizona, it's been really nice here. It was pretty hot as soon as we got here, but the weather's been really nice lately, and not much humidity and no rain, so the weather's nice.
I noticed your strength seems to be, from talking to you, is your breaking ball. And I know your strength. What do you think? What do you think's going to get you over the hump? What is your weakness, and what's going to get you over the hump into the big leagues?
I don't know that he wants to reveal his weakness.
Well, I mean, everybody's got a weakness. I mean, I've always talked about my weaknesses, and I'm not afraid to. I'll tell you that. But there's always a hump right there, and I know you're working on it.
I mean, there's so many guys that you're competing against for only like few spots, but I think just a key to helping you reach your goal is just consistency and just trying to be as consistent as possible, day in and day out. And I think that's really it. I mean, just kind of take your strengths and just lay it out there.
Hey Ryan, I got a quick question for you. So you're with the Minnesota Twins organization, and it's got to be an exciting time right now because the team obviously is on the upswing. They made the playoffs this year. It's got to be exciting. You're that close, and you're thinking about that team. Plus, what goes through your mind during trade deadlines? Because obviously they might be in the mode to deal prospects for guys who are looking to come in and they can win with yesterday. So what are those things? How do those things go through your mind? What are you thinking?
Well, as far as trades go, I mean, we have zero control over that, so I just try to worry about and concentrate on whatever we can control, and that's something that's out of our control, so there's no point in spending time and effort worrying about those things. But as far as the Twins, our organization and the big league team as well, I mean, there's a lot of talented players that just broke into the big league, this year, and it's exciting to see a lot of those guys that I've played with that got their opportunity to, make their debut this year and things like that. And there's a lot of young talent on the big league team, and I think it'll be fun going forward. Fun team to watch.
Speaking of guys that you played with, did you get to play with that Bregman guy at LSU?
Yeah, I played with him my freshman year. Sorry, my junior year was his freshman year.
Did you see this type of stardom coming?
Yeah, I mean, Bregman, he's a special player. His work ethic is second to none. He works his tail off day in and day out, and he was special when he got to campus, and just continued to develop there, and really just found his groove. He spent a little bit of time in the minor leagues, and they didn't waste any time getting him up there. And he settled in nicely and had a really good year this year, and obviously helped him win the World Series.
Yeah. You had a couple of good games I noticed in AAA this year. You had a couple wins there when you went up with them. So that must have been a little bit exciting.
2-0, huh?
Yeah, that was a temporary. They needed a spot start, so I went up there and just made a spot start for him, and then had a long relief appearance out of the bullpen, and that was it. It was fun though. It was good.
You gave him 2-0 and a sub-2 ERA, so that's pretty good stuff. Yeah,
it is good. And then you get dropped into the mix. How many innings you got out here? Do you have around 9 or 10 out here? Because I know they don't pitch you very much. I mean, I was a part of that too.
I have 10 in the third right now, so I'll probably have 3 to 4 more outings up here and call it a year. So, get ready for next season.
So do you live back in Slidell right now? Do you live in Slidell, Louisiana?
Yes, in the off season. That's where I spend my time.
So you are a bona fide coon-ass then, I imagine, huh? So you're close to it anyway. So most people probably don't understand what that is, but I coached in New Orleans one year, and I'm kind of a redneck, so I'm in between that. So, but I know you probably eat the crawdads just as well, right?
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, for sure.
Now you're talking a language I don't understand there, country.
Well, I know, but I mean, you've got all the New York delis up there, and they're dynamite. But we like to suck those crawdad heads every once in a while. That makes us throw that ball over the plate and get outs. That's what it's all about. And Ryan can tell you that. And Ryan, my brother used to love to go down to LSU because he played at Mississippi State, and he said, they fed you real well down at LSU. They gave you big old platters of crawdads down there. And I said, I'm sure they did. So that was the way it went.
So all kidding aside, Ryan, what are we going to expect from you in the Twins organization this upcoming year in 2018? What's your goals, and what's the organization goals?
Well, I mean, my goals personally, I just want to keep continuing to keep continuing to develop and just try to become as complete of a pitcher as I can to do whatever it takes to move up the ladder or whatever it takes, whatever the organization needs or wants from me. I mean, I've done a lot of starting, and then the last year and a half has been a lot of outings out of the bullpen. So I guess just I don't know, being able to come out of the bullpen and throw 1, 2, 3 innings or a start, whatever it takes. I mean, being versatile could help, I guess, but just really whatever it takes and wherever they see fit I'm all for it.
Well, we're hoping to see you on the major league level sometime real soon, because that Minnesota team looks like it's ready to start winning very soon, and we hope you're a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for coming on and sharing with us a little bit about yourself and your goals. And we hope I hope you stay healthy and have a wonderful year next year in the spring training like you want it to go, and go for all the gusto right there. But thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it, Ryan.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
Appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. Hey, good afternoon. This is Mark and Mark on the Midday Show, and we have a very special guest today, and that is Tom Hackemer. And the reason I said he is special is because a lot of times we have a lot of these old farts like myself out here telling these war stories. Well, this guy right here is telling a real story because he's in the AFL right now, which is the Arizona Fall League. And if you don't know it, the Arizona Fall League is where all the prospects go before they kind of go to the show. All you got to do is stay healthy and throw the ball over the plate, get a few hits up the middle, and that's what happens. But we've got Tom Hackemer with us today with the Minnesota Twins. And, Tom, we're very happy to have you on our show today. Thank you for being on. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Hey, Tom, well, you're a former Red Storm star, so, tell us a little bit about going from the college ranks, pitching over at St. John's, a great program, and getting over to the Minnesota Twins?
It was definitely a little bit of a change. I struggled. I had my growing pains while I was at St. John's learning how to pitch. But by my junior and senior year, I had a pretty decent grasp on it. I was a lot more physically mature than when I had arrived there. Then the transition into the professional game was a whole other set of challenges. But I've had some helpful coaches along the way who helped me make that transition. A couple of good catchers, as I'm sure you guys know, makes a big difference.
Big time.
Yeah, they definitely helped me along the way.
Nothing better than being a freshman and having a junior or a senior catcher.
Oh yeah, it was very helpful.
Did you grow up on the island, or did you grow up in Queens?
So I live just outside of Queens, Floral Park, New York. It's actually a town that is split into half Long Island, half Queens. But I live
right by Jamaica Avenue.
It's Jericho down there, but yeah, I live right between Jericho and Hillside.
Well, I was going to ask you, while we're on the subject, and you being a pitcher and myself, what's your arsenal like? What do you throw?
It's fastball, slider, and a little bit of a developing changeup that I've been working on since I've been down here.
And you're primarily out of the bullpen, right?
Yeah, I throw from a sort of a low sidearm slot, so I've been a reliever my whole career.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I was looking at your stats right there, and your strikeout to walk ratio is pretty good. And I was going to ask you, what's your put away pitch? You've got something going on right there that's pretty nasty, apparently. What do you put away hitters with mostly?
It changes up a lot. I would say it's about even fastball and slider, depending on the hitter, the sequence, and what feels good that day.
Okay, good answer. Yeah, so you throw a sinking fastball and a slider mainly, a sinker.
Yeah,
sinker slider.
Pretty much. Sinker slider.
Right. There you go. And here's the tough question of the day. I know you got strengths, but what's going to get Tom over the hump? Into the big leagues. I know there's a lot of competition. Obviously, everybody knows that. But I mean, everybody works on their weaknesses because because I know you're working on your weaknesses because where you are. And because you're getting ready to go into big league spring training or into the next season, and you're going to have 3.5, 4 months to think about this to what's going to get you there. What do you feel is going to get you over the hump?
Oh, one of the big knocks against guys like me who throw from a low arm slot is usually that you're not quite as effective on hitters from the other side of the plate. So me as a right-handed side armor, the big knock is me being able to get out lefties.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's something that I've been working on different ways to do that, making sure you can get inside on them, make them a little uncomfortable, and also making sure I develop my changeup as a usable pitch. That's the big thing for the other twin side armor, Trevor Hildenberger, made his debut this year, had really tremendous success for a rookie in coming out of the Twins bullpen. He has a really tremendous changeup that he uses a lot to both sides, I think, actually.
Hey, Tom, being that you have a unique style, which is great for every staff to have a guy or two who can do this, what pro would you say you model yourself after or look to as kind of like an idol or a mentor?
For me, it's been, for the last several years, Joe Smith.
Okay.
He's with the
Mets for a while, Cleveland.
He came up with the Mets. It's with the Indians, bounced around. I could tell you the whole career path, but I don't think that's necessary. He's got about the same arm slot as me. Actually, when I was in college, I took a little piece of his motion and added it to mine. He does a little toe tap instead of a conventional leg lift or a slide step.
Mm-hmm.
I took that and I started doing it my senior year of college, and it's stayed there. To this day, I still do it.
So it help you stay back a little bit better, and get everything together when you do the little toe tap?
Yeah, it's a little timing check. Keeps everything a little more consistent.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, when they put the gun out on you, what do you usually top out with as far as velo goes?
Usually I'll sit anywhere from around 89 to 91, but since I've been down in the fall league, I seem to be throwing a little harder, maybe getting a second win at the end of the year. One of my earlier outings, I ran it up to 94, I think.
That's a good number from that angle. That's a really good number.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to hit a damn 91 or 94 mile an hour sinker. Jesus Christ!
Especially when you're bailing out on the release.
I don't know where that came from, but I hope it sticks around.
Yeah, me too.
I bet your agent does too.
Yeah. You know, Tom, where did you finish up last year? What level were you?
In high A, Fort Myers Miracle for us.
So that was in the Florida State League, right? Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hot and humid. Perfect.
Yeah, very, very humid.
Yeah. Where are you planning on going this year? Where do you want to go? Get it done.
Well, after the season's over?
Yeah, I mean, where do you actually want to end up next year, you think? What's your goal right there? Where do you think they're going to put you? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I haven't really given it too much thought. Hopefully I just keep pushing my way up the ladder. It's not really something I can control, so I try not to think about it too much.
Good point. It's all about consistency anyway, and all you want to do is just stay consistent. So
yeah, I want to make sure I'm doing the same things, getting ground balls, striking a few guys out.
Yeah, I'm sure you like that middle infield quite a bit, and especially that center field that can go after that ball for you. So
yeah, actually down here I'm playing with one of the shortstops is a guy I played against in college, and
really?
I've told him multiple times it's a lot nicer to have him behind me than across from me.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah. But what were some of your highlights this year during the season? Did you get moved up, or did you just start in high A ball immediately?
I got moved up right at the end of May.
Okay.
So that was nice. That was
sure.
Something.
Were you in Cedar Rapids at the time, or where were you? Were you there?
I started in Cedar Rapids this year, and I was there for about 2 months.
Okay. So there's a lot of corns and a lot of oats out there. I know that because I played and coached in that league too. So
yeah, it's a lot of corn.
You must have been homesick for pizza.
Oh God, you have no idea, man. Pizza and bagels.
Tell Mark that you cannot leave the New York area and eat pizza and bagels. It's not the same.
No, it's not even comparable.
It's not.
Were they have corn pizza or something, or what out there?
Oh gosh, no.
I don't know. I mean, I will admit my host family in Cedar Rapids did make me try fresh sweet corn.
Yeah.
And that was last year, but that was impressive. That was something very, very good.
So you're a food guy. That's good. I like food guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got to be a food guy. You're coming out in New York. What am I thinking of?
Exactly.
Yeah, we become food snobs when we leave because we expect everything to be exactly the way we grew up eating it, you know.
Exactly. When it's different, you're just like, oh, it's not the same. You wouldn't understand. People think you're a dick, but
I mean, this guy could pop out of school and go on Utopia Parkway and find 5 pizza places, and he probably has one that's his favorite, and one of his buddies goes someplace else. That's how much of choice we have here.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Fort Myers, you were down Fort Myers, so I don't know about their pizza down there. I don't think pizza travels from New York too far down on that Gulf side. Maybe on the east side a little bit more. It's in the water?
Yeah, it's in the water.
Okay.
So, you know what? Tom, we thank you for joining us on the show. I mean, great to have you here. We wish you a lot of success. Hope to see you up in Minnesota real soon. And, of course, all good health.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Enjoy it, Tom. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for that.
Hey, we're back, and now we've got up with us left-handed pitcher Tyler J. And I don't know that you know this, Tyler, but you're actually on a list of the top 3 Minnesota Twins prospects that if you're a Twins fan, you should know. Did you know that you're on this list?
No, I had no idea, actually. That's pretty cool.
That is really cool. It means that people are watching, and that's a good thing in your business.
Right.
Well, I think it's really cool that Tyler doesn't know that because, I mean, I never really paid attention to my stats or what people said, you know, good or bad anyway, because there's going to be a whole lot of bad. And I know, Tyler, you already know that there's a lot of negativity out there, and we're looking for positives anytime we can find them. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, right. I mean, when you're going good, everyone seems to love you, but when you're not going through that little weak stretch, those same people might not like you. So it's hard to just kind of just do your thing.
Well,
you were a first round pick out of the University of Illinois.
Illini.
Fighting Illini. And you had Dan Hartley was your coach there, and you had Drew Dickinson as your pitching coach, and you probably had a pretty good time being a starter there. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was fun. I was the 3 years I was there, I was a bullpen guy. So
really,
but yeah, I've always.
He's actually being modest. The guy who reviewed him said he was a shutdown reliever who was a strike throwing machine.
Oh, that kind of guy.
That guy. He's that guy. Yeah.
So Tyler, so you got some nasty shit here, okay? I see it right now. What do you got? What do you throw? What's your arsenal here?
Yeah, when I'm on I got a fastball. I go 2-seam, 4-seam, and that'll be anywhere from 94, 96 up to 97, 98 sometimes. And then I throw a slider that's usually upper 80s.
Okay.
And then curveball that's around 80. And then I have a changeup that I was using when I was a starter last year, but I don't think I'll be using that much out of the pen. But I still have it, so it's nice to at least have those 4 pitches just in case I go a few extra innings that I'm used to. But yeah, it's pretty much what I'm rocking with.
Do you like the role? Do you like coming out of the pen? Do you like that role of being that go-to closer guy?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, at school, it was something that I kind of slowly went into from my freshman to sophomore year, and then once I kind of got the hang of it, and once it's kind of weird. Like people think there's a lot of pressure on you, but there's kind of I know you kind of just lock it into that mode where you're the last guy, and it's kind of cool to be like dependent on like that, and it kind of gives you a little bit of extra motivation out there. Not that you need any, but it's still kind of cool to see guys when you come in kind of almost relax a little bit and see like, okay, obviously, we're in the lead, and they know that like our best arm's coming in at school. That's how it was, and just really fun. And I mean, and in terms of just, starting relieving, they're both really fun, but something a little bit different about closing for me. I can't really pinpoint what it is. It's just probably it's just something I'm made for.
I know. I ended up that's where I made my living was as a closer, and I was a starter for the most part. And then all of a sudden they found out that I had a 3 to 5 IQ, and that's when they turned me into a closer. So, starters, they got that 3rd and 4th pitch, and I had 2 pitches, but I said, sit down, I throw hard, I win, we win games, I drink a lot tonight, game tomorrow.
Right.
It was a scientific theory that he applied day in, day out for 9 years.
Exactly, yes, of course. But I think it's great that you have the mentality to go out there and have some fun between the lines, and it is fun to walk out there and say, hey, I'm the biggest badass on the field right now. I just beat,
Right.
Yeah. But where were you playing this year? Where did you start? Al?
So, yeah, I started on the DL, so I kind of had a little bit of a shoulder impingement thing going on, and
okay.
And then I got to Chattanooga for like 2 weeks, which was double A, and ended up kind of still having a little bit of an ache going on. Couldn't really pinpoint what it was, so then I went back in the DL, and then I finished a year in high A for the last 3 weeks of the season.
Good.
And then I pretty much came here, so it's nice to get some innings and actually be playing again. It was a long, hard time, but I'll tell you what, I really appreciate just being out there again. Just something, you kind of learn about yourself. You learn a ton going through stuff like that, going through injuries and stuff like that, more about your just body and in general. So, it sucks at the time, but I think it's just something I can, manage going forward. So I always got to try to make it a positive. So.
What was your major other than baseball at Illini?
It was mainly baseball.
I just wanted to check you out. I'm just checking you out for real here, Tyler. So you're the real deal. I can tell that right now. I just wanted to verify it. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to verify
field and delivered on that question.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
sideways.
Communications at the end, but that's I still had kind of no idea.
Yeah. Well, I can attest to the injury factor because, when you're out there and you're getting dry humped and you're getting up, getting down, they don't use you, and you're getting in, 50, 60, plus games a year and, pouring some innings on, it's hard on you. But, if you stay healthy and, you got that one really nasty put-away pitch, I mean, that's the one thing, a closer that they stand out. Sometimes you got that good slider that night and, you're locating it, and then other times, it's something else. But you feel the same way on that, Tyler? I mean,
exactly. There'll be days where there'll be days where it's on and people are hitting it, and then there'll be days where it's really bad and no one seems to hit it. And then there's days where, it's doing what it's supposed to, it's not, but it just kind of all weirdly balances itself out at the end for some reason.
Yeah. And it never hurts to be able to run 98 in on their hands either, right?
Right. That's something you always kind of got. At least it's hard. It'll be going somewhere close.
Yep. Well, you got a lot going on down there. I'm sure. How do you like that Arizona heat versus Fort Myers humidity? You like it out there?
Yeah. I tend to like this a little bit better. Arizona or from Florida, it is like it's like an air dryer in your face, and you're trying to run, you can't breathe, and I get really bad allergies. And this kind of dryness is really nice for me out here, and it's a good time of the year too. It's like in the 80s and it's nice for sure.
You have that lake out there, don't you? By that Fort Myers complex, don't you have a lake right there?
Yeah, there's one behind the complexes, so a lot of people fishing.
I used to have my when instructional league. I used to have my pitchers run that lake out there, and it was raining one day, and farm grit got kind of pissed, but I was trying to get a little mental toughness in them. He said, "Well, there's all kinds of snakes and shit out there," and I said, "Well, you just got to jump them." He said, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I think they found a gator in there last
Gators.
year.
If there's freestanding water in Florida, there's gators in it.
Yeah.
Well, so where do you expect to be level wise next season in the Twins chain? Are you thinking like double A at this point or triple?
Yeah, I would hope somewhere along those lines. It always depends on how you're coming into spring training, and I think that's where I'm going to start this year. And seeing that I've missed most of this year, I'm assuming I'll go there. But honestly, it's always going to depend on where your stuff's at and how you're throwing, and that's really pretty much all I can worry about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How did you like Chattanooga last year? Did you like all those ridge runners out there, coming to the park? Those hill people?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting crowd out there, but, I loved it. It's a really nice place. I'm from, my hometown's Lamont, so it's about 30 minutes out of Chicago, so it's kind of cool to see, like, the hills and everything like that stuff I'm not used to see in the mountains and things like that.
You probably saw a lot of corn where you lived, right?
Yeah, yep. It's a corn ride from my hometown straight to Champaign. It's all you see.
Did you grow up a Cubs fan?
What's that?
Did you grow up a Cubs fan?
Yeah, I was a diehard Cubs fan. I didn't even really have a choice, though. That was family choice right there. But I think they chose right.
Last year they did.
Yeah,
at least last year. That's right.
They knew.
Well, I kind of like pitching against the Cubs all the time. I never liked pitching in Wrigley, but for some reason I kind of did okay. Walking into Wrigley scares the hell out of you. The first thing we always checked as pitchers, we went up those steps before we went into the locker room, and we saw which way the wind was blowing. And then, oh my gosh, my arm's killing me today.
If it's blowing out, the arm's killing you. If it's blowing in, coach, put me in.
Maybe, bring it on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you continued success and especially good health coming into the 2018 season. And thanks for joining us on the Mark and Mark Show.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
Well, now you get the chance to watch a true closer close out a show. So we're going to flip it over to the country.
Yeah, well, Tyler, here's what you do as a closer. You throw peas at the knees, no pies in the eyes, no wall balls, and you'll be just fine.
Right.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to this week's installment of Mark and Mark in the Midday. I'm Mark Weiss, and as always, I'm with my good buddy Mark Littell, a.k.a. Country, and this is part 2 of our series of speaking with a lot of the top prospects in the Minnesota Twins chain. And today we've got with us third baseman, first baseman, left fielder, Is there any corner position you don't play? It's Chris Paul with us today.
Yes. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Glad to be here. I'm doing well. Glad to be here and talking to you guys.
Well, the one thing I have questions about, I know you went to Cal Berkeley, so we got a Brainiac on the air, so that's good. So we don't have to talk as long today. So that's the real good situation. I do know you can hit because in the AFL down there, the Arizona Fall League, you won the hitting challenge. Am I right?
Yes, sir. You are.
I saw that video.
Yes, we did. We saw the video.
Was that like the mini golf version of hitting challenges?
Pretty much. They set up all these targets all over the place. I got pretty lucky. So a lot of guys hit the ball really well. Hit a good BP. I just happened to hit the most targets and most home runs, I guess. So, it worked out. Won $500. So I wasn't so upset about it.
That was the next question I was going to ask. What kind of coin did they land on you?
Yeah, so we all got $100 for showing up. And then I guess the bonus for winning, I won $500. So it was fun though. I mean, I met a lot of the guys and got to hit BP and have some fun.
Hey, you were a 6th round pick out of Berkeley, and obviously I'm gonna say you probably played third there. Am I right?
Yeah. So my first 2 years I played shortstop.
Oh, really?
Junior year, yeah, my junior year I played a little third base. Didn't have probably played around half the year, and then so I was a senior signed, so I ended up graduating. My senior year I played first base primarily. Bounced around a little bit when need be, but I played probably 95% of my time at first base. So so then the Twins drafted me as an outfielder.
Oh, really?
Kind of all over. Yeah. So my first year in rookie ball, I played a lot of outfield, and then I ended up getting called up to Cedar Rapids, and played first base there, and then kind of bounced around the positions ever since.
So I'm betting that you. It sounds like you hit well because you were a senior signing, but you were a 6th round pick, which is really neat. And all of a sudden, they say, it looks like this guy can hit. Let's find him a position somewhere. And that's what's going on down there in the fall ball with you. Am I right? Is that the way it sounds?
Yeah. My senior year, I had a good year. My first year of pro ball, I had a good year. My second year was down a little bit. I struggled a little bit. Had some tough luck too. And then this year, I had a good year. I actually broke my hamate bone this year, so I missed probably 10 weeks. Had that surgery, but I tried to.
Yeah, it looks like you hit like 328 this year. So I mean, that's pretty good. That's something to be proud about.
Yeah, you did. You hit 328, right, Chris? Hello. Hello.
I think we might have lost him.
I think so.
Well, the stat A hit 328.
Yeah, right. 328. Well, he'll jive back on here.
I'm going to pause it.
Right.
Hey, so Chris, you hit 328 this year over in A-ball. So I mean, that's a pretty good number. So they're starting to look at you with what you did over in Fort Myers, where the air is kind of thick.
Yeah, definitely. I had a tough year the year before. I played this year with my manager helped me a lot. Unfortunately, he's no longer with the Twins, but really helped my swing. I worked pretty hard in the off season with my hitting coach back home to try to get it right. Just tried to develop a better approach and fix little things in my swing to try to have a good year, and it ended up being a really good year for me, and I was really happy how things went. Obviously the Twins saw that and honored me by sending me out to this fall league. So I've had a fun time so far. The competition's been really good,
right.
But it's been fun.
Do you guys ever look up at the big club and see that, the Twins have made big steps going from a 100-plus loss team to a team that made the playoffs in, overnight? And they do promote their young guys from within. So does that give you guys, a bigger incentive than, let's say, playing for an organization that maybe, they trade their prospects?
Definitely. Obviously you want to make it, with your team, and, it gives you obviously incentive to make it, and I know we have a lot of young guys, on the Major League Twins roster right now. It's funny though, cause whenever you're going up, there's they always say, as long as you're playing well, most of you guys may not even play in the major leagues for the Twins, so they always say, play hard. You never know who's watching, just in case there's other scouts there or other teams there, front office, whatever it may be. But, yeah, definitely, it makes us want to play hard, and, no matter who's watching. And, obviously you'd like it to be with your home team, but it may not always be.
Now, Mankiewicz was the manager this year, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Now, did he work with you on some first base skills to kind of refine what you do over there, and as well as hitting?
Yes, he did. He was a great first baseman, great major league player, and hitter as well. So along with hitting, he definitely helped me a lot at first base. Just on some glove skill, and just for him.
Did you find the footwork a little different over at first when you had to go from left to right, on the throws and things of that nature? Because I know that's a different skill level over. A lot of people don't know that footwork.
Yeah, definitely, especially when you have to maneuver around the bag, and wherever throws take you and stuff like that, along with it being from third base and left field, So you definitely have to know your way around the bag, and be comfortable. You don't want to get stepped on either by the runner. So,
right.
He definitely worked with me a lot about that. So, he was very helpful having about playing first base, to help me get better over there.
Did you grow up a Giants fan?
What's that?
Did you grow up a Giants fan?
No, I grew up an Angels fan.
Angels
Orange
fan?
County. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, from
My bad.
California. No worries. But yeah, it was cool. I definitely went to my fair share of Giants games when I went to school at Cal. Just because it's right across the bay, San Francisco is. So, we'd always buy the bleacher seats and head over there for games when we could. But and it was crazy because when we were there, they were extremely good. The World Series and my time I was at Cal. So, we always went over to the city when there was mayhem going on after the World Series. So that was pretty fun.
Right. It's funny because I worked out there for a while, and it was always tough getting Giants tickets, and if we got them, they were expensive. And I could go to A's games at the drop of a hat, and they'd almost pay you to go.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. I mean, still when I was up there, you could get A's tickets for $10. Everything's cheap inside, or hot dogs, beer, drinks, whatever it is, you barely see maybe 5.
Hey, Chris, when you were growing up, who was your some of the players that you followed that you said, hey, I like this guy? Was there anybody in particular?
Growing up, when I was younger, my favorite player was Nomar Garcia-Parra. I had a lot of family back in Boston, in the Boston area, growing up, and so my parents always were like, hey, Boston, we always rooted for the Red Sox and some of those Boston teams just because a lot of my family's from there.
You know what your family called him, right? You know how they said his name, Nomar.
Nomar, yeah. You got a better accent than I do to do that. But, they always said like water and all that stuff, and I tried to say, give me a quarter, but I could never emulate it. So, but
good job though.
Yeah, I tried.
Well, what was your major other than baseball? In college, what was your major other than baseball?
I was an American Studies major, which is kind of
in other words, you study all the time?
Yeah, you know, I tried to.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah.
All right, so you know what? I think Chris having a little bit of technical difficulty, and we're coming close to the time anyway. So I want to thank Chris for being part of the show. Country, you have a couple of things to say to Chris before we go.
Well, Chris, the other thing I'm going to say is just have a blast down there, which I'm sure you are. And the other thing is I know you're playing hard as well. Oops, we got him back on here. Chris, still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you want to start somewhere, Mark?
Yeah, I just was saying that we're getting a little close to the time to end our segment. We wanted to thank you for being part of the show, and just quickly, what level do you expect to be in next year, and what's your time frame and your goals?
Hopefully with the Twins, but you know, if it's somewhere else, you know, it's Chattanooga, which is and have it.
Alrighty, so.
Sorry. Break it up.